How's it going, everybody? I am back in the final video of building at Jamaica Plains. This time I'm on the roof of Jamaica Plains. I'm going to be building a sort of structure up here. It's not quite. Most of the structure is going to be in this first half of the video, and then the second half is going to be kind of jump cuts of sort of like decoration, but also sort of part of the structure itself. The first thing that I'm going to do is I put that windmill down because that's going to be like pretty much the structure itself almost. And then right here I am going to be building a way to actually get to the roof, and I wanted to have some interesting supports to get up there. So I wanted an interesting way to get up there, so I needed supports for the ramp up to the roof. Mainly, I'm using a ramp because it's basically the only way to get to the roof at the perfect angle. Most everything else gets you way above the roof, and I didn't want to do anything where I had to climb up and then climb back down to the roof. So I use a ramp from the scaffolding section. Or no. I was going to use a ramp from the scaffolding section. I end up using these angled shack floors from Custom Vanilla Assets. I was going to use a ramp, but it also went a little bit above, so I grab a 20 and a 30 degree angled ramp, and I line it up with the side of the building, the side of the roof of this building, and then the side of the room I'm on, I guess. I don't know really. I was going to call it a building again. But the 20 and 30 degree angled pieces got me pretty much level with the roof. It's very easy to walk up, and it looks really interesting. It is the same texture 2 times in a row, which if you're looking at it, yeah, you'll notice that that's the same texture over and over. That's why I ended up using a piece from the scaffolding on the very top, was to kind of break up the texture a little bit. It does have brown, but it's also got that white piece, which looks a little bit nicer. And I put it at that angle because I didn't want the overhang from the white piece over the ramp on the left. I used this same support again. Similar to the one down there, I put another support at the bottom of it so that it looks like it kind of goes all the way down to the floor of the second story of Jamaica Plains. So you can see right here, I try my best to make it blend as well as possible. It's just kind of looks scrappy. That's all it ends up looking like. Not quite that clean, but doesn't necessarily have to be. It looks about as good as anything Bethesda would make, so can't complain too much. On this side, I probably could have gone for 2 supports, but instead of adding 2 supports from the scaffold, or not the scaffolding, but the ball track tab, I probably could have used that one. But it may have been too tall, so instead I ended up going with one of these shorter posts from the Posts and Support Beams mod by Toys Out of the Pram, and then a couple of these angled wooden pieces, and I just kind of threw these in there kind of at different angles and stuff to look like it was being held up at different angles. It ends up looking pretty good and well supported. I grabbed this taller one and I put it on this end because it's only holding up about one corner of it, and right now, if you just saw right there when I looked up, it kind of looked like it was floating, and so to avoid that, I went ahead and threw this piece in here. And yeah, that looks well supported. And then I have one more of these smaller posts, and I put it on the lower end of the ramp at an angle so that it looks like it is holding up a little bit more of the ramp itself. So I think that this ramp makes the structure look a little bit crazier, more scrappy. I like it overall. Right there, I think that that looks really good going up to this rooftop, and then the finished build ends up looking really good. And like I said, this is the main structure of the build, and it's very, very scrappy. It's kind of just thrown together, and it's all based around this windmill. It's also kind of like a defense, like an outpost up here, or a sniper tower or something like that, but it's not what I intended it to be. It's kind of the defensive like rooftop of Jamaica Plains, because the higher they get, the better view they have over the town, and then out towards where those raiders are by that tree down the road, and also the like raider settlement, I guess, just behind Jamaica Plains. There's that flooded town that the raiders the raiders are in there, and then also to the right there, that bridge has got gunners on it. So Jamaica Plains is not the safest place, so maybe that's why these settlers haven't really been able to build up too much, and they've mainly just kind of been scavenging and surviving out here. But that's pretty much the main portion of this build, is this windmill. So there's a couple more pieces that I throw in there later, but this is where the jump cuts start. So the next thing is I end up grabbing a couple different pieces of junk to kind of throw in to make it look pretty scrappy. Like I said, this is supposed to be kind of the like defensive spot, so I wanted to have a good spot where they can get a good shot out of this section. And it is kind of open on this front part, but I ended up fixing that later. On this side, I thought about closing off that side, but I didn't like having that whole side over there filled in, because that's a lot of area that I could use. So I end up using this junk wall from, I think it's Aslam's junk wall pack. One of those junk wall packs I use, I put it there. And then another one on the other side of that corner. So this corner is just junk walls, or pretty much junk piled up, not just junk walls. And I move on to sandbags. Like I said, this is going to be kind of a defensive point of the settlement where they defend themselves from, along with down the stairs on top of the second floor where the cinder blocks are and the sandbags. And since the sandbags don't really clip through down to anything, I was able to kind of level these differently to give it a little bit different textures and stuff. This one is a little bit more dangerous doing the clipping, but I think that the roof is thick enough to where it won't actually clip through or anything, so I was able to level these differently. And then, like I had said before, I end up lining some across the front of this, so it's a little bit better defended, not quite as open in front of that quarry walkway that's upright. And then instead of using sandbags all the way around, I end up using some cinder blocks as well on the other two corners of the rooftop. So I have this side and then that other side that I had just placed a second ago. I layer them on this side, I think, a little bit more than I did the other side. but it's really, this comes together with the details that I add later between the building and the tour. So layering these right here adds a little bit of depth and fills it in a little bit more. And then on the front side of the house, I needed a doorway, obviously. So I went ahead and I grabbed the junk fence doorway and placed it on the front of the windmill. And so it I end up closing off a little bit more of that. So as you can see, it's really scrappy up there, and I really like the way that that looks. It makes the windmill just look even cooler, being as scrappy as it is. The next video will be the finished tour of my Jamaica Plains. I'm not going to add any shops or anything like that. I do a little bit of decoration on the inside, but like I said before, I did end up getting the 0 kilobyte glitch, so this settlement is just gone from my save. That's why if you guys request me to build anything here, I'm not going to be able to do it. But yeah, it's very scrappy build up here. Pretty short tour. You can see I added a door on the front of the house. On this back corner, like I said, I added a little bit more decoration. I got a little spot right here so they can put their gun up on top of it and get a good view out over the settlement. And then a little bench and radio and stuff behind the cinder blocks. Inside the house, like little to no decorations. You can see they just used the structure of the windmill. And then I added a chair so that they can sit and look out over Jamaica Plains. Boarded up the sides a little bit more like I said I was going to. The sun rays shooting through. And then a good view again out over the town. But yeah, let me know what you guys think of this settlement, and the next video will be the tour. Thank you guys for watching this video, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Have a good one.